and also the success of the tax form. If the tax recommendation were to be approved, the platinum panel with input, they should be they need to be working on what would be the goals, objectives, and a timeline possible for the comprehensive plan. What do the citizens want? Well, we know. Number one, improve the roads. Number three, improve pedestrian and bicycle. Address drainage, number 5, and traffic calming, number 6. So, talk. Talking about physical systems, the citizens are the general dissatisfaction with the service and rates of the water and sewer provider. With poor customer service, see frequent outages, quality of the water are the issues. And one in the open-ended comments, several people who made open-ended comments addressed the infrastructure. When you talk about infrastructure, Aqua's infrastructure is a main issue. You have your neighborhood, pretty regularly. You get sewer breaks, and we had one 15 years ago when they had the pipe that broke by the pool. We had a pipe. We had a pipe that actually broke. And this is right by the creek, so there's an issue there, pollution and issue. They were generally satisfied with the electricity provider, better knowledge, and the cable provider. Not much about the phone. There's only a few people still using Frontier as a phone. So what are the next steps? We have to increase coordination with the Platinum Road panel, and we need to begin working on a transportation plan and budget, and update the outline to incorporate. One thing I did not put here is, and there's nothing that we do in government, I'm a firm believer that nothing that we do in government, except for maybe there's maybe 2 things, and eventually they become in public, is secret. And it should not be, it's not. And one of the things that is that we are talking to an organization that usually helps small cities obtain funding through grants or other awards. And the leadership, we are aware that we have to look for options. And so there will be an item for discussion tomorrow at City Council to please attend. And hopefully we can find some, because if we do not have, even if we do a bond, we will not be able to address all these problems. And how do we address? This is my question. What do we do with ARPA? They have, this is a little bit, I want to go on a tangent, but not too long. There was an improvement plan presented to Pedernales and an improvement plan presented to ARPA. This was back when I first came to council in 2016. Pedernales completed all steps of the improvement plan and submitted documentation to the city. ARPA had a 4-phase improvement plan. They completed phase 1 and refused to do this. So these are things, and we, and it's very difficult. So what is the condition was bad then, and I'm sure it is worse today. And we have some parts of the city that are soft, that I get frequent comments from citizens about the flavor, about the water pressure, about the taste of the water, about the color of the water, and then I hear, unfortunately, too frequently, about practice points. We've had at least 3 breaks.
Oh, more than that. I mean, we get at least 3 breaks a year. And the thing is that they know that the line cannot withhold the pressure. They know that's a known entity to them for several years.
So this is a summary of physical systems, and it's one of the things that we need to find. We've been talking about it for years. Maybe now is an opportunity for us to do something about it. Yeah.
I think we're still waiting on the Cave Freeze people to be able to.
Yeah, can we take
Brandon's
the
here.
2 minute, 2 minutes? I'm gonna go, we're on Zoom, we're recording.
Brandon can hear.
I can go in and plug the Zoom into this camera so that it works the same way.
Okay,
Let's
do you want us to do item
Just
3?
take a 2 minute recess.
Okay.
I mean, just a quick break, you'll know.
take a 2 minute time switch.
That was last meeting that with the ordinance review committee, we were supposed to bring up the cover. It's not on the agenda. It will. Yeah, we can see you. It's always wonderful, you know, to have your phone camera that you can't do, you know, when you like open it up. Your chin, your mouth, you know. I'm not leaving, I promise.
You're going to start here, this paper.
I'll be back once you start.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, well, I'll let it come in.
Maybe the phone letter.
I'm ready to go.
4 minutes.
See you, bye.
Yeah, but I do.
We can see you, Brandon. Can you see us?
I can see y'all and I can hear you too.
Hello, Brandon.
Hello. Nice to see y'all after
Finally, all right.
the past 30 minutes.
We're back for a short recess and we have selection. So back to item number 1 on the regular agenda, update on the classroom panel activities. I'm sorry, what am I talking about?
You good?
I went to, oh, this is reset itself.
We're talking about the future land use workshop.
Update, report.
Doesn't need to let you in.
Okay, freeze on the land use workshop.
Oh. Hey, everybody. Sorry to interrupt. So I think Selena is needing some level of access. It won't let her unmute or use her video.
Jeff went in the back already.
I see him moving
Yeah,
things
he's-
around, so
Right.
he's on it.
While you're waiting for Selena, I wanted you to know that two people that have went to the land use workshop that came from the ETJ.
Yeah.
I volunteered with them. They were so, the next day they told me, how much they appreciated that we let them attend and that we spend the time explaining things to them.
Cool.
And, quite impressed with your work.
Oh, great to hear. Thanks for passing that along.
Okay.
Oh, he's here.
Hi, Selena.
Hi, Selena.
Hello, how's it going?
Better?
Good.
Technology, gotta love it, gotta hate it.
Okay, you're on.
All right, so let me share my screen so I can jump into the results that I got. 1 second.
If it doesn't work, Jeff's working on it real quick.
He's got you
Okay,
going.
yeah, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. So,
He just fixed it.
okay, let me try.
Can you make her the main one too, to enlarge her? So we only see her?
Try not to get us.
Yay!
All right, that sounds like good news. All right, so I'll get started. So the first word was what type of development would you like to see in the parcels that are undeveloped? These were the results from the workshop, and I'll go ahead and show you more graphically. So what we have here, these are the areas that people put some sticky notes on that they would like to see development in. So there's some people that said over here they need some road repair and drainage improvements. That's something else, but we have like a food park truck here, pickleball court, food truck park, miniature golf, playground, deli, restaurants, rest area. So those are in your city limits that people selected. And then this one is kind of bordering. They wanted some parks, playgrounds, and rest areas. And then this was just a comment that was left there, but I decided to put it there. No illegal dumping in this area. So that's what I have here. And then I also went ahead, oops, 1 second. Went ahead and made some graphs so you can see it once it loads. What people said in general, what they liked with those sticky notes. And there was a 13.8% where most people wanted parks. And then we have food trucks and then public pool. And then we have our dislikes, which is like I just said that they wanted a public pool and the likes, but then I had a lot of dislikes as well that to the pool. So this is what I have here. Do you guys have any questions?
What's an aqua clean?
What's a what?
Aqua clean?
Aqua Clean. There's someone that put that on there. It was, I have to look it up again, but I think it was something that had to do with like water purification, but I'll get back on that to you, but it was something that someone had put on there. All right. So then the next board I have here is other than Wood Creek Drive and Brook Hollow Drive, place a sticker on which streets you believe the city should prioritize when it comes to improvements. And then we prioritize them with a pink sticker. It's first choice, second choice, orange sticker, and third choice is your yellow sticker. So this is the results we have here. I'll show you what was most selected though. So we have Champion Circle as the main priority street that needs improvements. And then Augusta Drive. And then we also have, even though we asked not to put Wood Creek, there is a portion of Wood Creek near Cypress Point Let me go back up to this map.
Yeah,
Yeah, everybody hates that area.
Yeah, that's one that there was a lot of stickers on that area.
I know,
So-
and unfortunately, that's right, that's not a road,
Yeah, it's a private road. It's
it's a
not,
private road.
Well, it's still good feedback, so we know when approaching the owner of the road, we have this information. So,
yeah.
They have not been very forthcoming in the past, but we can try.
All right. So then we move on to the desired transportation elements for existing and future streets. Place a sticker on the desired street elements for each type of street. So this is the board that we have. I'll break it down into graphs so it's better understood. So for pedestrian elements, for the regional areas, what was mostly selected for pedestrian elements are multi-use paths. And then the second selected is none of them, which is on street sidewalks and trails and multi-use paths. For community areas, again, it's mostly the multi-use path and then none of these. For neighborhood, they do not want any pedestrian elements. That's what was mostly selected. And then the second is trails. But for rural activity and no activity areas, they selected trails. I mean, it was a low number, but it was selected. So that's for pedestrian elements. Oh, sorry, I have to keep reloading. 1 second. Okay, so then we have bicycle elements. For the regional areas, people would like to see protected and shared bike lanes. For the community areas, protected bike lanes, and then none of these was a second selected. For neighborhood, we have no, they don't want to see any bike lanes. And then rural activity is shared. So that's for bike elements. And then, any questions?
No.
Okay, and then general roadway elements. For regional, the most selected was rain gardens. Community, also rain gardens. Neighborhood is street trees. And then for
Yeah,
rural
but-
act,
Trouble with the blue and the green, so the green is drainage elements?
okay, so the dark green is gonna be street trees. This
Oh, street-
blue,
Okay,
yes.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, this lighter blue is rain gardens. Then we have drainage elements. And then this gray right here is gonna be lighting, which is what was selected in no activity. They want lighting there, so that's this here. But what is interesting that they wanted a lot of rain gardens, so that's nice. that will help with drainage too. So for walkability, if you could walk or bike anywhere in Wood Creek, where would you walk or bike to? So for this one, if you guys remember, we had some ribbons and I was having people select where they walk to and what their path is. So this is what it turned out to be. And with that data, I collected is what streets were most popular that is used for pedestrians. So Wood Creek Drive was the most popular street that people walk on. And then Brook Hollow Drive was right below it. And then I also kind of simplified the map from above. And the bolder the line is where people walk the most, but you can see that at this intersection, well, it's a bend, but this intersection of Augusta and Brook Hollow is where a lot of people, there's like high volume of traffic here. And then over here, from Wood Creek Drive and Champion Circle, that's also where there's very high pedestrian traffic, because they're walking to the trails that are over here. Any questions there?
Now, Mayor Rasco is not in the room, but I want to point this out to him when he comes back, because that high volume of pedestrian area there, right at where Augusta connects with Brook Hollow, you should see this, Mayor Rasco. So we've discussed putting a stop sign here, a three-way. And, originally three-way stop signs aren't really the best to be used for speed control, right? So we learned that during considering that, but they are used for traffic management. And if you notice here, this is a high pedestrian volume area, and it could potentially justify a three-way stop sign there to protect, people walking, and just how much traffic there is kind of intersecting in that area could justify that three-way stop sign. We're talking about where Augusta Drive intersects with Brook Hollow. So
Yeah.
not where they
Yes.
didn't, but yeah, right there. That's where she's saying there's this really high volume of pedestrian traffic
I can
here
attest.
for the city. So that, in my opinion, would justify a three-way stop sign, because stop signs are to be used for managing traffic.
Mhm.
And right there indicates a traffic issue.
Mhm.
We've got pretty significant accidents.
I don't doubt it. It's the way the road and everybody's houses and everything align there, the visibility is not great.
It's,
Okay.
Okay. So then, I'll go into the other boards. So these were asking, place a sticker next to the preferred residential development types. I'm gonna show you what the boards were, and then I'll go ahead and simplify these for you. But as you can see, the conventional lot 3rd acre were the most selected here for dwelling type preferences. And then for commercial type preferences, we have none of these there. And then
a big deal right now.
Yes, it's a big.
sorry about that. And then there's another board for commercial preferences, and then there's another high number of none of these. And then we got a lot of responses for a golf course, which interesting. So let me zoom in on this. Yeah. So these are the results here. So like I said, the conventional lot, the 3rd acre is where 48.9% responses. But then I had, what you couldn't really see, well, apartments had a negative response to it. And so wanted to put that here. And then for commercial preferences, as we said, 32.5% said none. And then 12.5% said golf course. So just maintaining the golf course is what I'm thinking that means there. Another thing to point out is there was a lot of people against big box retail. And then there's kind of a back and forth between gas station and against a gas station, but mostly on the side of against a gas station. So just throwing that out there. So then we go into the questions that were asked. I'll show you the results here. I'll show you the graphics because they're easier to understand. Okay, so my sentiments towards national brand retailers are that got 95.8% saying they compete with local retailers and their revenue isn't reinvested locally, and we should do our best to keep them out. So that's what a majority of people responded to that question. The next one is along Ranch Road 12. I would like to see the most is small scale cafes and coffee shops. And then there's a tie between nothing, keep it the way it is, and landscaping and beautification. And then my biggest concern with new residential development in the undeveloped areas surrounding Wood Creek is 57.7%, making sure that we preserve the natural features of the land, like trees, sloping terrain, and natural drainage. So the next one is making sure that lots are large, like 1 acre minimum, but that's 11.5%. All right. And
Sound
so
like I should have like thrown some more onto that number B, like making sure that we preserve the natural features, like the trees, sloping terrain, natural drainage, literally everything.
so then we'll go into the park questions. Scroll down to, okay. In Wood Creek's existing parks, I would like to see the most was community gardens, and then playscapes, and then nothing. So those are the top 3 answers there. One that was not selected though is going to be your sports courts and fields, just so you guys know that. And then in terms of active recreation, I would like to see more of off-street walking trails was most selected. And then we have pocket parks with amenities for kids. So those are the 2 most selected. And then again, sports courts and fields was not selected at all. So we don't want those here. And then I would prefer this type of park. It was between a neighborhood park, which is 1 to 2 acres, and a pocket park, which is less than an acre. So those are the top 2. With 50% pretty much want those. And yep, that's all I have here. So what I summarized from all these results is that people want to preserve the natural features, and if there's any new development, they want to keep it small scale but not obtrusive, and they don't want really new development, and they want the golf course to be centric and I guess focused on. And then really wanting parks, landscaping, rain gardens, which were highly favored. So that's what I have here. Any questions?
More.
No, y'all did a great job. This is excellent. And I emailed you, so we're gonna get a copy of this, correct? This presentation.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
All right. Is anything you would like me to go back to or to discuss, or I'll close this out whenever you're ready to move on.
No surprises.
Yeah. Same thing with.
All right.
Very well done.
Well, what's wonderful about this is we had a huge turnout. It encompassed beyond just the city as far as people being able to give feedback, because ETJ around Wood Creek is something Wood Creek is responsible for to some degree. So I think this is the first time information's actually been collectively gathered about that topic with those people participating. So that's really important. And while a lot of us can say, yes, we've been hearing this, I think these concrete data points put into graphs are really important, because it kind of changes the perspective of, oh, these are things people tell me in passing versus, no, this is actual like feedback people have given. Here's the graph, look at it, so it kind of takes it from the conversational in the air, this is how I interpret it, to, here's the actual data points. And so I really appreciate y'all. Y'all did a great job, and I don't know where to look to actually be looking at you. But
There.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, thank y'all. You did great.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah. Thank you.
met with
Thank y'all.
the Mayor Gina Fulkerson yesterday, who attended our land use workshop. And There's a little jealousy.
Oh, yes, there was.
Really?
Yeah, they were very interested in the results.
Great, well, I hope they have their number. It Reese is awesome, so, or
Yeah.
specifically
Thank you
you two,
guys.
we love y'all. Good job.
Yeah,
They.
Thank y'all.
it'd be great
We,
working in tandem with Kimberly and us.
Oh,
yeah.
we've had a blast working with you guys. And thanks for the
Any-
opportunity.
Any comments, questions from the members?
What was the attendance, size? 91. 91. okay.
Yeah, you want. Yeah.
That's
Wow.
good attendance.
That signed in, I
That
saw a
signed in.
handful of people just dodge right past that, because the line got kind of long,
Yeah.
so,
How about 100?
yeah, I would say
Yeah.
so.
Well, I had, everybody who was there, I had one negative comment, and it's one of those, if I had had a positive comment from that person, I would have probably have needed, oxygen or something, if someone, so I did not have, and I had, and it was interesting because some people that talk to me on social media or send emails, there were 2 or 3 of them that were like, oh my God, are you gonna put something on the website? Because I couldn't be there, and I hear from people who were there that it was so good, that it was so much information. So this is, they're those who could not attend. So thank you very much. It was one of the best responses we've had from the citizens. I do want to thank some of like Lydia and Joe and some of the members of our committees and boards and asked for work to the members, and their members were there. And I want to thank my bodyguard for the night, who helped me at the door. And we had but thank you very much. It was a great event.
Yeah, as I walked around and interacted with people who were there, they were just over the moon happy with all of the information and being able to give input. So it was great.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear. Thank you guys
Yeah,
for
this is
having
what
us.
we do it for.
Very much. So aside from getting that report from y'all, I think we're all set on this part. You want to let them go, get back to their workday.
Yeah, all they have to do is hang on.
Okay, y'all can hang up.
Cool.
All
right, guys.
All right.
Thanks again.
Thank you guys.
Talk to y'all
Appreciate
soon.
it. Have a
Yeah.
good day.
The
Bye.
next thing on our agenda is number 3, discussion of the scheduled meetings. Jessica?
Okay, so we kind of just followed our normal pattern, and we are wrapping up business on our work finally after a year now. So the final first draft of the document, you all will see on August 23rd. When I say final first draft, what I mean is that we have met a handful of times since y'all saw the whole document the last time. And each of those meetings, we talked about a new component of it. I took notes. And so what I'm going to be doing is compiling all that information into the actual document. That will include graphs and things from K3s, and will include as much data or data, however you want to pronounce that word, as we currently have. All the images and things that we have, and you know, basically it will be a first draft. So I know we've edited portions of the document into a third draft, but we kind of lost track of that process along the way. We sort of switched gears to focus in a little different manner. So what I mean by first draft is that we will then expect a second final draft on September 6th, which will take your first round of comments and improvements and kind of create another version of that, what we're missing. None of this, these are all just drafts, because we will not have submitted this to Lydia for reformatting yet. I want her to get the final one to work with, so she's not having to redo her work over and over and over. And then same with any graphs and things that we want committee member Justin Kemp to work on for us, any additional sort of graphics that we feel like we need. He has volunteered to do. And then we might also think about getting some, photographs.
Yeah. I was gonna say, let's get photographs from citizens and stuff and really neat. things around the neighborhood.
I would love to get a little stronger membership in here, at least Mr. Camp, because he's been working on this with us for a very, very, very long time. And I would love if Mr. Tarwater here was here as well. I haven't heard from him in a while ago as to why he's not attending, so I don't know what his agenda is there, but I would love to get a picture of us in this work situation. As far as what I've seen in other comp plans, that's a standard, sort of just like an image. I don't mean like a posing photo, something more candid, I think, but and so the questions I have for you all is, when do we want to submit this to P&Z, right, as a projection, right? We don't know when we'll actually be ready for that. So this is not a hard deadline. Well, where do you think the timing is to submit this to P&Z? And should we have Lydia format it before or after it's been submitted to P&Z? Should we let P&Z see this fancy document with all the bells and whistles and her efforts? Or should we let P&Z sort of see the hard draft? Because they might have significant changes they want to recommend back to us, or I'm not really clear on the process that we're expecting for this. So maybe the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem LeBrun can sort of speak to that a little bit more. Sure.
I would ask Lydia if she's taking it and turning it in Sunday, would you rather work from a more complete draft of others had P&Z input before you start making it nice looking? Or, you know, as a P&Z member, would you rather present something to that board that has at least some of the draft?
I would like to present them a pretty, formatted version. I mean, anything that we change, I mean, the way I've got it formatted, it's not going to be difficult to incorporate changes. So I would like to, the first time out to the Planning and Zoning Commission, I'd like to have it formatted and look nice.
I agree. I think that we do understand this is a responsibility of P&Z, and we're helping do that. But yes, I've experienced in the past the division plans. That's the way to do it. And then we can receive changes, comments, and incorporate them. And they would be a lot easier to do. I agree with you.
Yeah, so I'm just pulling up my calendar here. So we're thinking that after we have the edited version 2 on September 6th, I think we'll have missed that P&Z. I don't remember when P&Z meets during the month. Is it right before the council meeting, right?
We haven't met in a while.
I
Yeah,
know,
it's
but
supposed to be, what, the week before the council meeting?
Yeah, 1 week before the council.
Okay, so second Wednesday is the 14th. So we would be hard pressed to get it to them for their meeting on the 7th.
Is it September 7th?
Yeah.
Okay, so my idea is, since we're gonna be coming back on the 6th, why don't you and I work on that formatting so that when we come in on the 6th, with that final, it's pretty well formatted.
They still wouldn't be able to have it, like their agenda has to go out,
That's true.
the Friday beforehand, so they would need it by the 2nd. And so, I mean, unless they wanted to call a special meeting later on in the month, or the week of council, the Tuesday before,
I mean, we can have it on the agenda, on both agendas. And
Yeah, just
if
not in
if
this
there's
one.
nothing to act on, we just don't act
Okay.
on. For the council, on the council side.
So if we had it printed out for them instead of attached in the agenda, but there was an agenda item, is that reasonable? Especially because it had been shown to the public on the 6th, so it's not just like a document appearing out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was all.
So, coordinator, P&Z, that's council member liaison. I just would say maybe make a note to sort of let them know that this is coming down the pipeline and to start gathering the forces again and preparing for a September meeting. And to try to sort of work on the logistics of that when they want to meet, and then getting this item on the agenda, that they should be expecting the first draft, the final first, or For them now, it's the first draft again. I don't really know the wording of how to put this stuff, because really this is like the 100th draft for me, but, so,
Well, first draft of the final report.
okay.
There you go. All right, so I'm trying to get this timeline down. Okay, so we're meeting on what day?
On the 6th, and
September 6th.
right, and so in theory, maybe between August 23rd and September 6th, you'll have received the document and begin formatting. It's a quick turnaround. You basically have 1 week.
You know,
Is it realistic?
yeah. I mean, really, as long as I get the wording, because there's one area that we need to bullet and then just kind of incorporate pictures and graphics. I mean, the flow of the document is fairly easy.
Yeah, you have a lot, I mean, the last, even the last draft we got, it was very good shape. So
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, it's not gonna be a difficult thing. I mean, it'll take me a good, maybe day to just sit down and focus on it.
Because we have to get we have to get approval, PSC, then we have to take it to council. And then from there, if we want to, one of the things that we cannot do right now, we may be in a position by then, and we should be, to come up with the achievement, the timeline of what are your goals and objectives, what you're going to do, but we need to do this first.
So, kind of speaking to that, what you just outlined, that if, P&Z might not just stamp of approval this, send it on to council. There is a possibility that they'll actually make recommendations back
That's right.
for us to further edit or adjust the document. I fully expect that, and I would honestly appreciate the input of even more citizens, another
Yeah.
round. So with that in mind, there's this bullet point of discussion of future meetings. And so I think we can anticipate at least one more meeting after September 6th with a TBD kind of date to be determined. And then hopefully after that, this group will have finished its efforts. Okay, so
Well, let's just see what we get put together August 23rd.
okay.
And even though there'll be tweaks, I think I can start formatting. And so wherever we make changes, it should be a minor thing, but at least what P&Z will see is the August 23rd pretty draft with the September 6th bullet, we can.
Recommended changes.
Right, I
Yeah.
can highlight the recommended changes on it, and so that way I think we can pull it to P&Z in a good format, still have a document that is in draft format for them to add comments. What do y'all think?
I think that's great, and actually, if you bring it, I have a little zip drive I can loan you. If we get it on that zip drive and projected, we can even make live changes so that there's not an additional round of like going home and processing everything. So I would really love to utilize that feature and have us, because once it's formatted, I imagine most of our editing is going to be like, Deborah doesn't know how to spell the word, or she has something being capitalized, and hopefully maybe you catch a lot of that. But those tend to be my errors. And then just working on cutting down the language. I want to make it as least wordy as possible. So that's a flaw in my writing that I need help from you all on, of like, how do we cut down the language to make it,
Well, and more white space, more, just visual type things, because if there's a whole lot of wordiness, people lose interest in reading. If there's more white space and bulletin items, they tend to stay connected.
right.
I'm a big believer in that, particularly long documents. So then definitely the 23rd, and then meeting on the 6th, we go P&C on the 7th, and receive comments. So then I see that it would be another meeting, definitely.
Likely. And late September. So it's hard to set that. In theory, maybe we should just plan to stick to our every 2 weeks, but I think that's maybe not realistic for that meeting. And, you know, we might not need it. PNC might be like, wow,
Yeah,
this is great. It's ready to go to council.
plan on it, and if we don't need it, we don't need it, but I think we're on target. So, anything else for today?
So did you have?
So that, when does it go and who does it come from to go to council? Does it come from P and Z or does it come from your commission?
It doesn't, yeah, I would, so if P and Z approves the plan, they would then recommend that it goes to council. And then essentially it would be kind of liaison, working with staff to make sure that document is carried over. And if there were any minor shifts that they would recommend to council instead of sending it back to us, then maybe that's a separate one-sheeter of like, hey, you know, we want council to consider these things. We're not recommending that the ordinance review, or sorry, wrong committee, that the comprehensive planning work group make these changes. We just wanted council to look at them. Or the other option would be P and Z reads it, says, you know what, we want to kick this back to the work group. We have this sheet of changes that we are considering, you know, so it would go either way. And I think it's appropriate if there was like a summary with it as well, either direction. And I think that kind of information is helpful, just sort of like a quick review sheet. So did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So
And then you have a big option there.
yeah. So in looking at the calendar, if we kept with our every 2 weeks, that puts us at September 20th. For a possible final meeting for September 20th, depending on what P and Z decides. Does that seem reasonable? I mean, I thought it was gonna be cutting it real close, but it's actually quite a bit of time, so.
That's fine with me, but FYI, if it's the week after that, I will be on vacation.
Ooh, have fun. Well, we will not meet the week after that.
So which day you be on vacation when?
The week,
26th.
yeah, like the 26th.
The book of the 26th. You will be on vacation.
Well, since you're a resident English major, we definitely need you there. For
Yes, I
the review.
So can you, is the 20th an option?
Yeah, the 20th is fine.
Okay,
So we'll just kind of plan on that tentatively, I mean, depending on what P and Z does, that meeting
yeah,
might move forward.
okay, good.
Do y'all have any questions about the schedule or the drafts or? I mean, the draft that you're going to see on the 23rd, some parts of it are completely finalized, and I might try to figure out a way to remind everyone of that, just like, hey, we've edited this 3 times, this is good to go, good to go. Some parts have never reached that third, and I have a record of that. And then the rest of it would actually be the second draft, meaning that we have seen it all in this format here, right? So it's all the information in sort of like this document, and then essentially it's just taking all of this and plugging it in. So it's a second draft. So the entire final draft is almost done, essentially. It's either in second draft or, but you know, been stamped off.
If we can get the things that are already stamped off formatted before the 23rd, that would be great.
Okay.
All you have to do is send that to me and
I cannot promise that.
Okay.
Based on my schedule, but I
know
will
that's
try.
right.
And I will copy you on when I end up seeing stuff. So it will be in whatever version it is then. So if you wanted to kind of in your leisure time.
Yeah.
Work on it between then and the 6th, then you would have that ability.
Yeah.
It's just, I am due to send that to staff next Wednesday.
I really like the format when you kind of arrange it all that one. I thought that was very reader friendly format.
Yeah.
I thought that was very good. So we have a plan, and we're a little bit later than usual because of the technical difficulties. So thank you for your patience. And unless I have objections, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Well, thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned. Every time I do this, gal, I think about what they have to do with it.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye, Greg.
All right.
Thank you.